and took my daughter and did what he did with her.
We should learn more this week about the death of a toddler from Spencer. Tomorrow, Kyle Parker is due in court.
Always smiling, so full of life. Those are the phrases being used as family friends.
Really frank here, we've just started. Please don't feel like because we found a body and that we've made an arrest that this case is anywhere near over.
It's horrible. And it's very, very horrible.
Today, I want to share with you one of the most heartbreaking stories. One that forced the world to reconsider what it means to feel safe in your own home. I'll warn you now, this story is deeply emotional and difficult to process, but it carries lessons that could save lives. Please share in the comments which country you're from, and don't forget to subscribe. Stories like this must be told so that tragedies like this never happen again. On December 31st, 2014, in Bloomington, Indiana, a baby girl was born who would become the light of her family's life. Shaylyn Ammerman entered the world as a bright, beautiful presence. She was the first child of her father, Justin Ammerman, but her mother, Jessica Stewart, already had two sons, Gage and Blay, from previous relationships. With her radiant smile, piercing blue eyes, and soft blonde hair, Shaylyn was truly angelic. Her uncle once said her smile was the most precious thing in the world. Shaylyn was a happy, joyful baby who loved to giggle and laugh. She adored playing patty cake and peekaboo, but more than anything, she loved to dance. Her grandmother fondly remembered, as soon as even the smallest bit of music started playing, she'd start dancing. Her mother agreed, saying, "She's a happy baby. Anytime there's music on TV, she's bobbing her head, stomping around, dancing." At 14 months old, Shaylyn was just learning how to walk. Her great-grandmother recalled how she could take a few steps, but would often fall. Her tiny legs still unsteady. Just imagine the joy this little girl brought into the home. If you have children around this age, share your thoughts in the comments. After Shaylyn was born, Justin and Jessica eventually separated, and they shared custody of their daughter. Half the time she lived with her mother, Jessica, and the other half with her father, Justin, who lived in a small white house in Spencer, Indiana, along with his mother, brother, and stepfather. Spencer is a tiny town with only about 2,300 residents. Their home was on West Jefferson Street, near Riverside Cemetery and a local church. Justin's mother, Tamara Morgan, had grown up in Spencer and always felt it was a safe place. "I've lived in Spencer my whole life, and we don't even lock our doors here," she said. When Shaylyn stayed with her father, Tamara was her main caregiver. She adored her first granddaughter and described her as the easiest, happiest baby she had ever cared for. The house was full. In addition to Justin and Shaylyn, Tamara lived there with her husband Danny Morgan and her grown son Adam Ammerman. A woman named Kelly Rogers was also staying there temporarily. Since all the bedrooms were taken, Shaylyn's crib was placed in the living room, with her clothes and toys nearby. It made caring for her easier, but it also meant anyone in the house had access to the baby. How often do we allow people into our homes without fully considering the risks? Share your thoughts in the comments. Adam occasionally had visitors, including one named Kyle Parker. According to Tamara, Kyle had visited the home at least a dozen times. She said he seemed like a nice, trustworthy guy. He spoke so kindly and played with Shaylyn, she recalled. On one occasion, Tamara even saw Kyle gently rock the baby back to sleep after she woke up fussy. He came across as quiet, polite, and caring with the child. At the time, Kyle was living in Gosport, an even smaller town about 10 miles from Spencer, with Tina Wagner and her husband. Though he had already moved out, he was still doing some odd jobs for them, like painting their garage, though he hadn't yet finished. Because Kyle visited frequently, Tamara assumed he was Adam's friend, but Adam later described him more as an acquaintance, or a friend of a friend. This story makes us seriously question, how well do we really know the people we let into our homes?
It's Adam, A-D-A-M, Ammerman, A-M-M-E.
Ammerman.
I'm Justin, Justin, Ammerman. I don't even know. I'm so stressed. I wish I could take back time. She was joyful, playful. She was a happy baby. She never once complained. She was just a happy baby. She climbed everywhere. She ran everywhere. Well, tried to run.
March 23rd, 2016, began like any other day. The evening air was unusually still, as if the world itself sensed something was about to change. Adam, still feeling the effects of drinking the night before, decided to invite Kyle over to hang out, watch TV, and drink whiskey. Since Shaylyn was sleeping in the living room, the men stayed in Adam's bedroom. Their stepfather, Danny, joined them. From time to time, their laughter floated down the hallway, then faded as the night wore on.
I live at that house too. I just want to remember her as a lovable, bouncy baby girl that laughed, giggled, and played everywhere, climbed on everything. Everywhere in that room, everywhere in that house, she has been. She walks everywhere.
Around 10 p.m., Tamara got Shaylyn ready for bed. She dressed her in her owl print pajamas, soft and cozy for the cool spring night. She tucked the purple pacifier next to the baby's cheek and wrapped her tiny body in her favorite Winnie the Pooh blanket. Tamara had no way of knowing that these familiar, loving bedtime rituals would be the last she would ever share with her granddaughter. Justin came in to say goodnight. Leaning over the crib, he gently kissed her and whispered, "Daddy loves you." He gave her a hug and added, "Good night," his voice breaking as he later recalled that moment, etched forever in his memory. Can you imagine what a parent feels when giving their child a goodnight kiss, without knowing it would be the last? Share your thoughts in the comments. As the night went on, the house gradually grew quieter. Tamara checked on Shaylyn several times throughout the evening. The last time she looked in on her was around 1:30 a.m., just before going to bed herself. By then, Adam had already fallen asleep in his room. I fell asleep because I was still a bit hungover, tired, and had drunk a little more than I should have. I went to bed and passed out, he later admitted. Around 1:30 a.m., Danny, the children's stepfather, tried to go to bed along with Tamara. The couple liked to fall asleep with music playing, but their bedroom TV wasn't working. Danny woke Adam to help fix it. Once the TV was working again, Tamara checked on the baby one final time. Shaylyn was sleeping peacefully, her tiny chest gently rising and falling under the soft glow of the nightlight. Tamara had no way of knowing that this would be the last moment she would ever see her granddaughter alive. Adam returned to his bedroom where Kyle was still awake, quietly drinking alone. The house soon fell into silence, broken only by the occasional creak of the old wooden floors. Outside, the trees stood still. No wind moved through their branches. The darkness felt unusually heavy, as if something ominous was silently creeping in. Sometime later, Adam briefly awoke to the sound of the front door opening. Through the window, he saw Kyle walking across the yard toward his car. Adam recalled calling out, "Kyle, where are you going?" but received no response. Kyle simply got into his car and disappeared into the night.
It's Adam, A-D-A-M, Ammerman, A-M-M-E-R-M-A-N.
Justin, I don't even know. I'm so stressed. I wish I could take back time and save her. She was joyful, playful. She was a happy baby. She never was. She was a happy baby. Climbed everywhere. She ran everywhere. Well, tried to run anyway. She was.
You told me her hands.
Yeah, she did this with her hands, and it was just, it brought tears to my eyes every time. I saw Shaylyn was in her bed, and I leaned down, and I said, Daddy, look.
Yes, we're just hanging out, having a good old time, laughing, talking about random stuff. Justin was never in the room.
What happened though? Did you guys fall asleep? Did Kyle leave?
I fell asleep once because a little hungover and I was tired and I had just a little much over my limit, and I went to bed, passed out. I got woken up because my stepdad ended up screwing up our TV package on dish, and I had to fix that. That was at 2 o'clock in the morning. I fixed that, went to bed about 2:30.
Was Kyle still there?
Yes, he was still there,
Awake?
awake.
What was he doing?
He was still drinking. He was in his room, awake, trying to fix his TV, and I was trying to fix the TV.
Where was Kyle? He was just.
Kyle was
with
in
you?
my room, sitting in the chair, drinking and talking to people on his phone, I guess, because I heard the tick, tick, tick to texting. And at roughly 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I heard the front door open, and I look out my window, and Kyle's walking down the yard to his car. I open my window, I yell out to him, Kyle, where are you going? He never answered me back. He just got in his car and took off.
Did you see Shaylyn at all?
No, I didn't see Shaylyn at all. But then of course I was sleepy. I had sleepy eyes. I had alcohol in me, and my vision was all messed up.
Took my daughter and did what he did with her. I really want to know.
He was more of an acquaintance.
And you just had hung out with a couple of times?
We just hung out a couple of times. He was a very nice guy. Not uptight, just a real decent, nice guy. Just hanging out.
In jail, what would you say to him right now?
Why? Why did you take my daughter and kill her? And hopefully not hurt her?
Do you think anybody else was involved?
I don't know.
I honestly don't think he acted alone. He had to have somebody, accomplice, pitting him up to it or something. I honestly don't think he would act alone and do this alone.
And just know did you or your family have anything to do with her disappearance?
No. None of my family had nothing to do with this. Why would we? Our family is a peaceful family.
I think that you guys have as many questions as all of us don't know what his role was, how she ended up where she did.
No, we don't.
The hours dragged on slowly. Kelly, another resident of the house, returned home from work shortly after 2 a.m., dropped off some newspapers on the kitchen counter, and then left early for her next shift, never interacting with anyone in the house. Meanwhile, Kyle arrived at his friend's house in Gosport around 3:40 a.m., an unusually early hour that caught the couple off guard as they were getting ready for work. Even more unsettling, Kyle immediately took a shower and washed his clothes. Odd behavior for someone who had only come to her, she said, her voice
It's very,
shaking.
very horrible. We're slowly trying to get over this. You know, we can just only take it one day at a time. And I understand how Jess feels because, I mean, you know, I keep putting myself in her shoes, and I can even, he's really going through, but as a mother, you know, I understand.
When detectives questioned Kyle, they noticed fresh scratches covering his arms. He claimed they were from a cat. During his initial interview, Kyle stated that he had left the Ammerman house before 1:15 a.m., waving goodbye to Adam as he walked out. He insisted he had no idea what had happened to the toddler. During the interview, police allowed Kyle to step outside for a smoke break with his stepfather, Mike Patton, a decision that would prove to be critical. During that break, Kyle made a chilling comment that shook Mike to his core. He told his stepfather that the police would find out the truth once they discovered Shaylyn's body and the DNA on it. Hearing those words, Mike became convinced that Kyle was responsible for the little girl's disappearance. What do you think compels a person to confess to such an unthinkable crime? Share your thoughts in the comments. Police then asked Mike to encourage Kyle to cooperate. In a second interview, Kyle changed his story. He drew a map for investigators, showing where he had left Shaylyn's body. He claimed that he and Adam had found her unresponsive in the house and took her to Gosport to dispose of her remains. However, police informed Kyle that Adam had passed a polygraph test and that they had reason to believe Adam wasn't involved. Kyle was then arrested, and a search team was dispatched to the location he had described. Following the directions on Kyle's map, officers traveled through downtown Gosport, out along a winding road, and toward the river. 36 hours after she was reported missing, baby Shaylyn was found near a fallen tree in a secluded area between the White River and Indian Creek. Nearby, investigators found a pile of ashes, believed to be the remains of her clothes and blanket. Justin and his family didn't learn about Shaylyn's death from the authorities. They found out through the news. No one notified them beforehand. Justin was heartbroken. "I'm so stressed. I wish I could take back time and save her," he said, devastated. How do you think tragedies like this can be prevented in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments. While Kyle never officially confessed to police, his stepfather visited him in jail over the weekend. During that visit, according to Mike, Kyle gave a full confession, revealing horrifying details that would haunt everyone connected to the case for years to come. Kyle admitted that he had taken Shaylyn from the house while she was still alive and drove toward Gosport. Along the way, he pulled over to the side of the road. There, in the front seat of his car, he committed an unspeakable act, brutally assaulting the innocent 14-month-old child. He then strangled her using a cloth he had in the vehicle. The little girl struggled, making faint gurgling sounds as the life faded from her tiny body. After committing the unthinkable, Kyle told his stepfather that he attempted to cover his tracks. He wiped down both his own body and Shaylyn's with bleach, even pouring bleach inside her in a desperate attempt to eliminate DNA evidence. He then burned her owl print pajamas, her purple pacifier, and her beloved Winnie the Pooh blanket, turning symbols of her innocence into ashes. Kyle claimed he acted alone and told Mike that he had no intention of spending his life behind bars. He expressed a desire to end his own life, which led jail officials to place him on suicide watch. He was moved to a padded cell under constant video surveillance, with guards checking on him every 15 minutes. On March 28th, Kyle was formally charged with murder, rape, strangulation, kidnapping, aggravated battery, and several additional offenses. Owen County Prosecutor Donald Vandermoor acknowledged how deeply disturbing the case was, especially given the age and innocence of the victim. "It was so horrific," he said, that grown law enforcement officers winced in pain upon hearing the details. The full extent of the horror became clear when Shaylyn's autopsy results were released. The examination had to be conducted out of state in Louisville, Kentucky, by Dr. Donna Stewart, a specialist in pediatric cases involving sexual assault and battery. She described it as the worst case of sexual trauma she had ever encountered. Shaylyn's body showed extensive bruising and what she referred to as numerous, very apparent injuries consistent with sexual assault. The official cause and manner of death was listed as homicide by asphyxiation. Do you believe the court's decision in such cases is fair? Share your thoughts in the comments. Prosecutor Donald Vandermoor spent an entire year building a case aimed at securing the death penalty, or at the very least, life imprisonment, for Kyle Parker. But despite his efforts, the case collapsed. On February 28, 2017, Parker appeared before Owen Circuit Court Judge Lori Thatcher Quillen to enter a plea deal. The deal covered only the charges of murder and kidnapping. All charges related to sexual assault and other crimes were dropped. The prosecutor told the judge he had virtually no physical evidence linking Kyle to the crime. Shaylyn's clothes had been destroyed, burned to ashes. Despite Kyle's alleged confession to his stepfather, no DNA evidence tied him to the crime scene. Over 100 items were tested, but none showed traces of Kyle's DNA. Additionally, no bleach was found, despite his claim of using it to clean both himself and the victim. This lack of physical evidence left the case on shaky ground. Worse yet, many of the prosecution's witnesses had committed, in the prosecutor's own words, a large number of impeachable offenses, meaning their credibility could be easily challenged in court. With such weaknesses, a jury might very well find reasonable doubt or even suspect other individuals who were in the home that night. Judge Quillen accepted the plea deal, though her words reflected deep frustration. The facts of this case were the most gut-wrenching I have ever heard. Your actions were pure evil that evening. Many in this community rightfully wanted you to receive the death penalty or life without parole. What I can legally do as a judge versus what I would like to do as a parent and member of this community are in total conflict. It's clear to me, based on the gruesome facts of this case, that you, Mr. Parker, have no moral compass and no decency. If this story moved you, please like and share it so more people can learn about this heartbreaking tragedy and the vital lessons it teaches. Subscribe to the channel. There are more important stories ahead that must be told.